Psalm 4 is a prayer of David, likely composed for public worship, as indicated by its musical notation for the director of music. With stringed instruments. A Psalm of David. The psalm begins with a plea for God's attention and mercy in the midst of distress. David calls upon God to answer him when he calls, expressing confidence in God's righteousness and his history of delivering his people from trouble. Even in times of distress, David affirms his trust in God's faithfulness and his ability to bring relief. David addresses the wicked who seek to discredit him and his trust in God. He admonishes them to recognize the futility of their pursuit of falsehood and worldly gain, urging them to turn from their ways and seek God's face. Amidst the turmoil caused by the unrighteous, David emphasizes the importance of maintaining integrity and righteousness, emphasizing that the Lord has set apart the godly for himself and hears their cries. The psalmist then shifts to a message of peace and trust in God's provision. Despite the surrounding chaos and uncertainty, David encourages his listeners to remain steadfast in their faith and to offer sacrifices of righteousness. He reminds them of the joy and peace that come from trusting in God's abundant blessings, which far outweigh the temporary pleasures offered by worldly pursuits. In the closing verses, David expresses his confidence in God's favor and protection, declaring his intention to lie down and sleep in peace because of the Lord's watchful care. He acknowledges God as the source of his security and peace, ending the psalm with a prayer for God's continued favor and blessing upon his people. Psalm 4 thus serves as a reminder of the importance of trusting in God's righteousness and provision, even in the midst of adversity and opposition. Let's now read Psalms chapter 4. To the chief musician on Negeoth, a psalm of David, hear me when I call, O God of my righteousness, thou hast enlarged me when I was in distress, have mercy upon me, and hear my prayer. O ye sons of men, how long will ye turn my glory into shame? How long will ye love vanity, and seek after leasing? Selah. But know that the Lord hath set apart him that is godly for himself, the Lord will hear when I call unto him. Stand in awe, and sin not, commune with your own heart upon your bed, and be still. Selah. Offer the sacrifices of righteousness, and put your trust in the Lord. There be many that say, who will show us any good? Lord, lift thou up the light of thy countenance upon us. Thou hast put gladness in my heart, more than in the time that their corn and their wine increased. I will both lay me down in peace, and sleep, for thou, Lord, only makest me dwell in safety. This ends our reading of Psalms chapter 4.